It is a sad state of affairs, and the chair IBC should remember the words of the Kriegler report. The Kriegler report stands out as a historical account of the madness that politicians almost caused in this country, pushing us almost to the brink in 2007. The IBC was equally indicted for opaque processes, processes that were aberrantly unlawful, processes that did not enjoy public confidence. Ethicon and his people should know that the currency they trade with the public is public trust. The perception that the public has with the IBC, that is what will inform confidence or lack thereof. And we are seeing the inaction and the hopelessness with which the IBC is operating as feeding what we are seeing on the streets. Because a year to the election, and you see the images out of Kisumu, and generally this is feeding to the general crime and lawlessness we're seeing in the country. Yesterday I was seeing some video of a lady who was seated out in a salon somewhere, and she is mugged outside the salon. And we have seen various videos of the instances of crime that have become the norm as a result of this phenomenon called goonship, which is thuggery, for the lack of a better term. And these are things that Ethicon should call to order. He needs to sit down with the other lawyers. And this involves my good friend, the CS for Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen.
Who's a lawyer too?
He's a lawyer. And he used to be a CU chairperson somewhere.
As we approach 2027, Kenyans are asking, how do we trust IEBC that it is able to deliver an election as prescribed by the Constitution? Where that trust lacks, what does it mean to elections of 2027?
IEBC as an EMB, an election management body, is required under international law and domestic constitutional law and legislative instruments to be impartial. Impartiality on its part hinges on a number of measures, and certainly Article 81 of the Constitution gives us parameters that the IBC must focus on in terms of its preparedness. So Article 81 says this, that any election must be free from violence, intimidation, improper influence, and corruption. Number two, it must be conducted by an independent body. I'll look at those two. Violence, already we have problems on the street. What is Ethicon doing? Intimidation. We saw these videos of hooded people commandeering and intercepting a DCP caravan on the way to Olkalau. And that is despite the fact that Justice Thande Mogore, sitting in Malindi, and other judges, the Kisumu High Court, making it very clear that even if you're the police, you need not to cover your face. Ethicon has not seen it right to call out this, because he's a lawyer, number one. And these actions by certain police officers are going against declarations of the court. So already we are seeing grounds being set up for a violation of Article 81, violence. Look at the independence of the IBC. The independence is not only actual, but it's perception. What are Kenyans increasingly looking at in terms of the conduct of the IBC? We are seeing an IBC that is pussyfooting, an IBC that speaks from both sides of the mouth, huffing and puffing. For heck, apart from Ethicon, who we see once in a while giving us the PR, where are the rest of the commissioners? Because you see, Ethicon is just primus inter pares, one amongst equals. And those commissioners are going to be collectively responsible and individually responsible. So they need to remember that there are certain things that they need to do in the lead up to the election. I spoke of the KPMG audit. We have not been given an audit of the mass with the mass failure of the BVR kits. Has anyone, have the political players been taken through an audit of those kits again?
No, we just want to buy new ones.
Yeah, we are thinking of buying new ones so that people get their cuts.
Yeah.
and when the country boils over, when people are killing each other, these people will have their choppers to fly out of the country. Look at the decision by the Supreme Court. Some of us were not so confident with what the court said, but it gave certain recommendations in terms of the last election. Has the IBC followed through to see that those recommendations have been put in place? So we are basically going to an election with an IBC that is limping, an IBC that is not enjoying confidence, and I beseech Ethicon, wherever he is, Murkomen, you are in charge of security. And of course, I'll not leave out Professor Kithure Kindiki, another lawyer. Those lawyers I'll not spare. You know what is coming. If you don't sit down and calm your nerves, if you don't allow the good officers, the good police officers, leave alone these rogue ones that you're using, to do their work as required by law, this country is going to burn. And it will burn with your relatives, it will burn with your friends.
And we already know why by-elections happen in this country according to the Constitution. One of them is happening in 24 to 36 hours, the 15th of July. And the run-up to this has been quite interesting. And the IEBC has been called in. Many said it has already been an indictment on how the IEBC is operating and how it will operate into the future, and what it's said about politicians and what their plan is moving into the next election, the general election, which happens in 2027. But if there are any lessons to learn from Al Kalau, even before that by-election takes place, from where you sit, if you were to give a general overview of what has happened so far, especially where the IEBC is concerned, what would that be?
Well, if Al Kalau and the instances we're seeing in the country are anything to go by, it stands as an indictment on the IEBC, and not only the IEBC, but the gentlemen and ladies who are currently in charge of the security of this country. The election has three phases. There's the pre-phase, the election phase, and the post-phase. So in the lead up to 2027, Al Kalau and all these mini elections serve as a test for the pre-phase. And you can see the problems, the challenges we are facing. I mean, look at the violence that has been meted out on the streets of Al Kalau. Yesterday, brazenly, something that we have not seen before in Kisumu, young men walking, carrying bows and arrows in broad daylight. Was it at 11 in the morning?
Yep.